Welcome back to Tell Me More Stories Told as podcast. Where we like to take these deep dives into the lives of really fascinating people.
I love a good deep dive.
Me too. And today's subject is a comedic icon,
Oh, yeah, a legend.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
I mean, talk about a career
Yeah, and we're going to go all the way back to the beginning,
from her childhood,
to those early career moments.
all the way to her Emmy-winning success.
And, she's one of those actresses who just feels like a friend.
Right?
Right?
Absolutely, like someone you've known forever.
But when you really look at the breadth of her career,
It's pretty mind-blowing.
it is. I mean, think about this. She was born into wealth. Her father was a billionaire,
Wow.
but she chose comedy.
Not exactly the typical path for someone with that kind of background.
Right. And it makes you wonder, did that upbringing maybe influence her comedic choices?
Well, it's interesting to think about because so many of the characters she plays are, let's be honest, a little unlikable.
Yeah, like Elaine on Seinfeld.
Exactly, or Selena Meyer on Veep,
They're ambitious, they're flawed.
but we root for them anyway.
We do. So maybe growing up around privilege gave her a unique perspective on those kinds of personalities.
It's definitely possible. I mean, she's able to bring a certain humanity to these characters that makes them relatable even when they're being totally ridiculous.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's rewind all the way back to the beginning.
Let's do it.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus was born in New York City in 1961.
The Big Apple.
Her parents divorced when she was young, and she later gained a half-sister, Lauren Bowles, who's also an actress.
A family affair.
And because of her stepfather's work with Project Hope, she ended up living all over the world during her childhood.
Wow, that's incredible. Imagine the exposure to different cultures, different ways of life.
Right, and I think that really had to have shaped her comedic sensibility.
Oh, absolutely. Comedy often relies on observing the absurdities of life.
And having that kind of global perspective.
Would definitely give you a rich well of material to draw from.
Oh, yeah, okay. I have to share this anecdote because it's just too good.
I love a good anecdote.
Apparently, when Julia was just 3 years old, she stuck raisins up her nose to make her mother laugh.
Oh my gosh, that is classic.
Right, some might say a comedian was born that day.
Right. But it did end with a trip to the hospital, so maybe not the best way to get a laugh.
Yeah, probably not. But hey, at least she got a laugh, right?
She committed to the bit.
She did. Okay, so fast forward a bit. We find her at Northwestern University,
Go Wildcats.
where she was part of the Meow Show, a student comedy group.
So many famous comedians got their start in those kinds of groups.
It's like a proving ground, right?
Oh yeah, a place to experiment, to hone your craft, to figure out your comedic voice.
Did she know back then that this was going to be her life?
Well, she actually dropped out of college to join Saturday Night Live.
Wow.
That takes guts.
It does not to mention talent.
And she was only 21 at the time.
The youngest female cast member in SNL history back then.
Can you imagine being thrown into that world so young?
I mean, talk about a pressure cooker.
But she clearly thrived in that environment.
She did. And it's actually where she met Larry David.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, who, as we all know, would later co-create Seinfeld.
Wow, those early connections can be so pivotal in a career.
They really can.
Yeah.
Speaking of pivotal moments,
Yes.
I'm going to pause here and remind everyone to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the rest of this deep dive.
Yes, please do.
We've got a lot more ground to cover on the incredible Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
We do.
But before we get into Seinfeld,
Okay.
we need to talk about another important step in her journey,
I'm all ears.
the Second City,
Oh, wow. It's the Second City.
the legendary improv group.
The same place that gave us Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Stephen Colbert.
The list goes on and on.
It's like a comedy boot camp.
It is known for its rigorous training, its emphasis on developing comedic timing and improvisational skills.
All of which are clearly strengths for Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Oh, absolutely. Think about her physical comedy, her facial expressions.
It's all so sharp and perfectly executed.
You can definitely see those improv influences in her work.
For sure. Okay, so back to Saturday Night Live.
Back to SNL.
Yeah.
What was it like for her, being surrounded by all those comedy legends at such a young age?
Well, you have to remember this was the early 80s,
okay.
and SNL was still finding its footing after the original cast left.
Right.
So there was this sense of experimentation in the air, a willingness to take risks.
So it was a good time for someone like Julia to come in with her fresh energy and willingness to push boundaries.
Absolutely. And she must have learned so much from those veteran
Well,
performers.
I'm sure. And, it wasn't all smooth sailing.
Really?
She's talked about feeling insecure, facing rejection.
I mean, that's part of the business.
It is. But those experiences likely helped her develop that resilience that's so essential in this industry.
For sure.
And she definitely needed resilience because SNL was just the beginning of her journey.
Okay, so where do we go from here?
Well, before we jump into the Seinfeld years,
All right.
let's talk about some of her early film roles.
Like?
She appeared in Woody Allen's Hannah and Her Sisters, and she had a role in the comedy Soul Man alongside C. Thomas Howell.
I remember that one.
And we can't forget about her hilarious turn as Margot in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
A classic.
Full disclosure, Christmas Vacation is one of my all-time favorite movies.
It's so good.
And she is so funny in it.
She steals every scene she's in.
It's true. And it's interesting to see her early work, because you can already see those comedic chops developing.
Oh, yeah. Even in those small roles, she had this knack for stealing scenes.
She did. And each role, no matter how big or small,
Right.
was a building block,
I see.
preparing her for what was to come.
Which, of course, leads us to Seinfeld.
Exactly. But before we get there,
Okay.
let's talk about a lesser-known but fascinating chapter in her career.
All right. I'm intrigued.
The sitcom, Day by Day.
Day by Day.
It ran for a couple of seasons in the late 80s.
I vaguely remember that.
And it gave her a valuable experience as a leading lady in a television series.
I see.
And, it's a reminder that even the most successful careers are built on those smaller, sometimes forgotten steps along the way.
They all add up.
Each experience adds to the tapestry.
Okay. Are you ready to delve into the iconic world of Seinfeld?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
But that's a story for part 2 of our deep dive.
I can't wait. Welcome back to Tell Me More.
We left off talking about those early career stepping stones, all those building blocks.
Right, from Saturday Night Live to The Second City to those smaller film roles.
But now it's time to tackle the behemoth in the room.
Oh, yeah.
The show about nothing that became everything.
Seinfeld?
Seinfeld.
And her iconic role as Elaine Benes, a character that almost didn't exist.
Really?
It's true. NBC initially thought the show was too male-centric, and they pushed back on having a female lead.
Can you imagine Seinfeld without Elaine?
I mean, it's almost impossible to picture.
It is. She brought this perfect balance of cynicism and wit and physical comedy.
And intelligence.
Oh, yeah.
That signature, shuffle that shoulder shake.
Oh, the Elaine dance.
It's legendary.
Legendary. And, it's fascinating to think about how she almost missed out on this career-defining role.
Right. There were other actresses in the running, some very talented in their own right.
But Jerry Seinfeld saw something special in Julia.
He did. He's talked about how she had this natural ability to make him laugh without overdoing it. He specifically mentioned her way of eating peanut M&Ms.
Oh, really?
Apparently, she could eat them without breaking the peanut.
Oh, wow. I've never even thought about that.
Who knew that was a sign of comedic genius?
Well, clearly it worked in her favor.
It did, because Seinfeld became a global phenomenon.
I mean, massive.
And Julia's portrayal of Elaine earned her a Primetime Emmy Award in 1996 for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series.
The first of many Emmys she would go on to win.
So many.
But awards aside, Elaine Benes transcended the screen.
She did. She became a cultural icon, a fashion trendsetter.
A quotable queen.
I mean, her catchphrases are still part of our everyday lexicon.
Oh, yeah.
Yada, yada, yada.
Fake,
Fake.
Oh, I use that one all the time.
She gave us so many gems.
So many. And those dance moves.
Don't even get me started.
But all good things must eventually come to an end.
And after 9 seasons, Jerry Seinfeld decided it was time to say goodbye.
The Seinfeld finale aired in 1998.
What a night.
It was a massive TV event.
Over 76 million viewers tuned in to say farewell.
Wow.
It was the end of an era.
But what's truly remarkable is how Julia Louis-Dreyfus managed to avoid the so-called Seinfeld curse.
That's right, the idea that none of the actors could find success after the show.
Right, and she didn't just find success.
She soared to even greater heights.
She did, but before we dive into that next chapter,
Okay.
I want to remind everyone to hit that subscribe button
Yes.
so you don't miss the rest of our deep dive on Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
There's so much more to come.
We've got so much more to explore, from her forays into voice acting to her triumphant return to television.
I'm excited.
So stick with us. Welcome back to Tell Me More,
Where we're wrapping up our deep dive into the career of Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
It's amazing to think about how some actors, become so associated with one iconic role.
Oh, yeah, they get typecast.
Right. But she managed to avoid that trap.
Completely.
She didn't let Elaine Benes define her.
She used it as a launching pad.
A springboard into a whole new realm of possibilities.
And she didn't waste any time.
First up, she lent her voice to Princess Ada in Pixar's A Bug's Life.
Oh, I love that movie.
Me too, expanding her range into animation.
Right, and proving she could charm audiences of all ages.
And then came Watching Ellie, her own sitcom created by her husband Brad Hall.
A little different from Seinfeld.
It was a unique show that experimented with format and style.
Breaking away from that traditional sitcom mold.
Yeah, it may not have achieved the same level of mainstream success as Seinfeld,
Right.
but it showcased her willingness to take risks.
To push boundaries and explore new comedic territory.
Exactly, and let's not forget about those hilarious guest appearances on shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm and Arrested Development.
Oh yeah, she's always a welcome addition to any cast.
She is always bringing her A game.
And then there was her triumphant return to Saturday Night Live as host.
Oh yeah, the first female former cast member to do so.
Breaking barriers.
Talk about coming full circle.
But it was in 2006 that she really shattered that Seinfeld curse.
Okay, tell me more.
Landing the lead role in The New Adventures of Old Christine.
Oh, I love that show.
It was so well written.
And relatable.
A brilliantly written and relatable sitcom that earned her another Emmy Award.
As Christine Campbell, she gave us another iconic character.
A single mom trying to navigate life's chaos with humor and heart.
And she nailed it.
She created a character that audiences couldn't help but love.
Absolutely. Proving once again her ability to connect with viewers on a deeply personal level.
And then came Veep.
Oh, Veep.
What a masterpiece.
This HBO comedy about the inner workings of the vice president's office was a game changer.
It was sharp, satirical, and absolutely hilarious.
And Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Selena Meyer was pure comedic gold.
Pure gold.
She brought this incredible blend of ambition and incompetence and razor-sharp wit to the character.
It was the perfect role for her.
It was a role that allowed her to showcase the full spectrum of her comedic talent.
From physical comedy to verbal sparring to those perfectly timed facial expressions.
And the awards recognition was undeniable.
6 consecutive Emmy Awards for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series.
Hello.
Breaking records and solidifying her place in television history.
A legend.
A true icon.
But Julia Louis-Dreyfus's talent isn't limited to comedy.
Right. She's also a gifted dramatic actress.
In 2013, she starred in Enough, said a critically acclaimed romantic comedy drama.
Oh, I saw that one. It was so good.
Her performance was nuanced, heartfelt, and utterly captivating,
Earning her a Golden Globe nomination.
and showcasing her versatility as a performer.
And in recent years, she's even joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
No way!
Yes, appearing as Valentina Allegra de Fontaine in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Black Widow and Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Wow, continually pushing herself and exploring new genres.
It's incredible.
It's a testament to her enduring talent and her willingness to embrace new challenges.
And let's not forget about her podcast, Wiser Than Me.
Oh yes, where she interviews older women about their life experiences.
Such a beautiful and inspiring project.
It won Apple's Best Podcast of the Year in 2023.
So well deserved.
So there you have it, folks. The remarkable journey of Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
From her early days on Saturday Night Live to her Emmy-winning roles in Seinfeld, The New Adventures of Old Christine, and Veep.
She's proven time and again that she's one of the funniest, most talented, and most versatile actresses of our generation.
A true icon.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
Think about all the characters she's brought to life.
So many great ones.
Many of them flawed, ambitious, even unlikable at times.
But we love them.
We root for them. We see ourselves in them.
What does that say about her talent?
About her ability to tap into the human experience.
And what does it say about us as an audience?
What draws us to these characters?
It's something to ponder.
It is. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
We hope you enjoyed the journey.
And we'll see you next time on Tell Me More.